All right, here we are. So, on the writing across of Contagion, Love is Contagious, we got to the 3-5 profile today. This paranoia is something that's going to become problematic when we move into the unconscious of the 3-5. 3-5 contagion are the ones that can really make a difference in our understanding of the way in which we can be with the other. And yet, we are the ones that suffer the most in trying to show that the way we can be exciting. Logic is never interested in excitement. That's not the goal of logic, it's not. But one of the primary themes of the abstract is excitement. And one of the things that you see in the 3-5, I see that this is the heart of the excitement program. Now, the line itself is called evaluation, and it's about assessed in action. Remember, I was talking about Tantra. One of the basic principles of Tantra is to know when to stop action in order to create excitement. It's one of the laws of Tantra. You can hear that in the patina of beings across the plane who are trying to experiment with Tantra, and there's only one thing that you hear from. They say all the time, don't come, stop, 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 and then wait for the excitement, and then move, 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 move your body. Don't do anything, just wait and wait and wait and go. This is what the abstract can find out. This is what the 3-5 can find out. And this is why 3-5 suffer from such a bad reputation in their relationships. They do. They are looking for excitement. And if they don't get it, the things falls apart. It's the companionship for being third line being after all. The third line says, it's so much trouble to have a partner. However, excitement can compensate that. It really can. And the one thing that the abstract truly understands is that to create excitement, you have to create tension. And in action, in the 29 gate, you have no idea how much tension and excitement that can create. Now let's get to the other level of the 3-5 contagion and understand something about it. For me, 3-5s have a capacity to make them very potentially successful as scientists. As an example, this ability to be able to discover through working things through and seeing what doesn't work, and out of seeing what doesn't work, try to find a way that it can work. But more than that, this is the potential of the intelligence that you can derive from experience itself. That the 3-5 contagion, because it's the seductive power, is always going to be able to engage others in the experiment of duality. But they will fail a lot. And the whole theme for them is in many ways is that failure is sustainable, is at least it was exciting. There are so many ways in which we try to come in terms with geometry we do not control. How do we come to terms with it? How does any human being come to terms with the dissolution of our relationships? How do we rationalize it? How do we set up a belief system about it? What is our logical approach to it? We all come up with the different ways, and we all try to come up with ways in which we think the best of it. It's the difference between the way my mother talked about my father while he was alive, the way he talks about him now that he's 10, 15 years dead. It's like the Pope turning up all these average Joes into saints. They're dead, and all right. Let us only think the best of them. And more than that, let's exalt them in some way. One of the things that is so obvious is that I've been to a number of ordinary funeral kind of things, and I'm always astonished the way in which they describe people in the eulogies in the funeral, just for ordinary people, let alone in the kind of schmaltz job they do for politicians. And you realize right away that partnership is a great success when one partner is dead. It's one of the things that you really see that that really makes this partnership work. All the bad things they can kind of, oh, he was a saint, your father. Aren't you kidding? My father, yes, he was a saint. All right. Yeah. And the abstract is the inferior in this program. In other words, every coming together, every splitting apart for the 3-5, it's a death. And what do you do with the death is one of the things. He was always a son of a bitch. I'm glad he's dead. That's one side, which means don't do it with that kind of being again. The other side is, oh yeah, it didn't work, but wow, we had fun. There were things were great. I probably will remember those things the rest of my life. It's the way in which the abstract tries to build up its memory program, because the abstract is history. It tries to build up in the memory program the things that it wants to keep. It's like when you do add three abstract people, like a recommendation. These three descriptions are going to be so incredibly different, and not just experimentally. The one who didn't tell you that there was a swamp next door with old garbage in it, and it was filled with rats because nobody went over there and saw it. You get all these different stories. The couple that had an exciting time forgets they spent the first 2 days vomiting. Have you ever noticed that? Oh, it was wonderful vacation. Do you remember, dear, that we were sick for 2 days? The abstract is wonderful the way it does. That's why we have the histories that are lies. It's all distorted. Oh, it was a wonderful year. Yes, right. We were all so brave. Right, sure. Let's remember something nice. You don't want to see the kidney pie that has laid over the furnace and take that home with you. So you talk about wonderful things. This is the abstract. This is the way the abstract molds all experiences through its feelings that is subjective. And nothing better than the 3-5 to set up this game of contagions. Nothing better. So then we get to the 3-6, guys. Remember, the 3-6 in this quarter are very stable. It's one of those jokes. After all, we know logically it doesn't work. If we know abstract, that the best you can do is rearrange your memory. When you get to the 3-5, when you get to it, is recognition that everything is crazy and mixed up and silly and that it all really doesn't work. And yet the very fact that it doesn't work becomes the solidity, the stability. If you actually accept that no relationship can really work, you always can be surprised if something does work and be satisfied with it. This is the 3-5. And it doesn't ever concern itself with that. It simply says, well, this is supposed to be terrible. And this happens is only just because about terrible. And this is really okay. That's who they are. And of course, they have very, 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 very early that the duality game is really a mess. And remember, something in my tendency it is, because I'm trying to deal with a primary archetype, is to put this in the context of partners that are lovers. But I want you to understand that this is duality in the sense that it's all duality. That's all about meeting all the others. It's not just about the primary reproductive genetic impairment. Yes, the other kinds of meetings are secondary. It's the primary force, but the child that isn't going to be sexually mature for its first 15 years, and in those 15 years this whole duality program is at work, and obviously they're going to be conditioned to live it out full in the way in which they are programmed. So don't believe the programming, don't get conditioned by the conditioning, and be your own authority. Wakey wakey. Okay.